Welcome to the Bible TV. This is Prophet Enoch Messiah speaking with you. Today I'll be talking of Dalai Lama's teachings and the difference with the biblical teachings. First of all, it's all about multiple truth and multiple religion. Dalai Lama talks of multiple religion and multiple truth. But Bible says there is one truth, one way and one life. If we talk of John chapter 14, verse number 6, Jesus quoted, "I am the way, the truth and the life. No one can come to the Father, Lord, except through me." This point clarifies the certainty and the single truth and the single way and the single life. Dalai Lama has been supporting on multiple truth and multiple religion because his perception, his understanding and his circumstances is different than the circumstances of Jesus Christ, because he was chaste and he was living as a refugee in the another countries. In the young age, he lost his citizenship and he is living as a refugee. In this condition, so he should accept the assumption and truth of other religion as well. This is the condition. Psychologically, one man can not have the ability to have faith on the single truth. This is why Dalai Lama has been explaining all about the multiple God and multiple truth. That's for the peacemaking process. This for all the global peace process. Okay, next point is compassionate teachings are all about emptiness. So if we talk of the Buddhist teaching business, we can see there's the theory of nothingness and emptiness that has been focusing on the kind of love, affectionate tendency with the mother, children, people around the world. This teaching, the compassionate teachings of emptiness, is totally different than the biblical teachings. God made this whole universe with nothing. God made the world with nothing. That's the point. God can create something out of nothing. So there is the possibilities of bringing prosperity from nothingness. This is the divine revelation. We need the divine revelation to understand. So let me talk of the Dalai Lama. Why Dalai Lama must have talked of the nothingness? Because if we see the basically Buddhist teaching, Gautam Buddha was atheist. Gautam Buddha would never believe on the God, existence of God. That's how it has brought contradictions over the teaching of Dalai Lama with the biblical concept. Okay? Alright. Next point is finding the happiness in the troubled time. Yes, other topic is much more similar, but if we see the spiritual term, it is different. It is far more easier to not to be successful. It is far more easier to not to be successful. You need bigger effort. You need bigger faith for the success. In the time of trouble, we cannot enjoy, for God has said, "Bless those who have been sowing the gospel with the tears. They will harvest with the happiness." That's the teaching difference than the biblical teachings. Dalai Lama's teachings brings the happiness in the troubled time, whereas Bible says you need to sow seeds, prophetic seeds, or the gospels in the tears, weeping with the tears, and then you can harvest the happiness in the future. That's how you can see the difference between the teaching of Dalai Lama and teachings of Bible. Alright, so next point to be discussed is art of hope. Art of hope. So there's the certain way or skill to be equipped for receiving the hope. Dalai Lama explains there is different way, scientific way, psychologically how can we receive happiness. This is tough, must philosophical concept. Whereas Bible says about hope, we do have single hope. Jesus will come again in this world and he will take dominion over this spiritual world. Messiah will reign over this world in the new heaven and in the new Jerusalem. That's the hope. Our hope is in the Lord. So that is the difference between the teachings of Dalai Lama and biblical concept. So hope of Bible is different than the art of hope explained by the Dalai Lama. If we talk of Dalai Lama, so he has been practicing the scientific methods, philosophical terms to justify the hope for living the joyful life in the happiness. That's how it has been brought contradictions with the biblical teachings. Right. Next point is focused prayer for collecting the faith. If we see the nuns living in monastery, you can see they have been collecting for. They use the prayer beads, collecting small faith together for the bigger spiritual operations. Bigger spiritual operations. They have been counting the prayer beads. 108 prayer beads times and again. They have been visiting Mane. They have been moving around the Manes stupas with the prayer wheels. That's the small faith. Small faith. That's the visible faith. They have been materializing their faith. Whereas Bible says, Hebrew 11 chapter, verse number 1, faith is believing on what you haven't seen and hoping what you haven't received it. So your hope should be with the whatever things you haven't received it, and your faith, your trust should be whatever things you haven't seen yet. So we believe on the invisible God. We believe in the invisible power. That's the controversy teachings with the Bible. So controversy teachings of Dalai Lama with the Bible because of the practices. There have been practices. Lamas are counting prayer beads because they have to gather the faith, the countings. For business success, they need to bring the lamas inside home and they need to worship. But what we see in the Bible, Hebrew 11 chapter verse number 1 says, believing is to trust what you happens in it. Trust, inner trust, how stronger faith it is. That's beyond the circumstances of collecting hope and faith. That's how the difference you can see in the teachings of Dalai Lama and the biblical teachings. All right, next point is peace dialogue. We can see that's the one world religions moment. Bishops, archbishops, popes have been gathered together and they come into the table talk. This is against the kingdom glory. This is against the gospel faith. God is against the one faith, one religion of the world. So we cannot combine the whole religion in the one container. That's impossible. What does the Bible talks of it? Do not mix your faith with the custom, culture, religion of the world. Sanctify your heart with the Holy Spirit. Book of Romans says you need to sanctify your heart, believing in the God that is invisible God. We worship the God of spirit, God in spirit. Those who believe in God, they need to worship in the spirit. We won't be assembling with other religions to bring God closer. This is only God. So we cannot assemble. We cannot have peace, global peace talk for the one religion concept. That things brings controversy, contradictions with the biblical teachings. So Jesus is the God, and there is several religions. The religions doesn't give salvation. Religions do not give salvation to you all. Just one God, the Messiah of the world, God of God, Lord of love, can alone give you the salvations. That's why the teachings of Dalai Lama bring contradictions with the biblical teachings. So believe it. There is single God in the world. He is the creator God who sent his Son to be crucified for human sin. And we do have Holy Spirit with us to guide us, lead us, raise us as a prophetic persons from the non-prophetic, materialistic, and the idealistic, and the scientific world into the spiritual realm of the God. It was all about teachings. And finally, universal responsibility. We can see nowadays Dalai Lama has been attending so many conferences for the peace process. United Nations has been promoting global leaders for building peace, inter-religious teachings and cooperations. We can see has been attending the Sustainable Development Goal, Millennium Development Goal, so many international medias, international organizations have been inviting Dalai Lama for peace talk. In case of today's controversy, today's contradiction, today's revolutions are problem all over the world, somehow it has been addressing the issues, but indeed there's the difference than the biblical teachings. For the God has bringing us that the biblical prophecies to be fulfilled. Religions against regions, caste against caste, lingual group against lingual group. And that things has to come domestic, and the conflict has to rest before the end of this world. So the Messiah's time will come. So the God, Messiah, will reign over the world. And we can enter into Messianic era, where there will be God will taking dominion over the new heaven and the new earth. In this video, I talk of what are the matters that doesn't match with the biblical teachings. Thank you for watching this video. You were watching the teachings of Dalai Lama, which is different than the biblical teaching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. God bless you.